Glad to have you join us. Good morning to you, Chief, and welcome to the
Thank you,
platform.
Mike. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. So, what are your thoughts? I'm sure you followed events as they unfold in Anambra over the weekend, down to the supplementary election that has been declared by INEC, and down to a particular collation officer who said that he declared a particular he declared a result under duress, and that has been adopted by INEC, looking at the extant laws in place, and of course that might be challenged at the court. So these are some of the issues I want you to look at this morning on the platform. You're welcome, Chief.
Yes, Mike, thank you. And listeners, God bless you. So, let me start first from the point that I hear you battling with the great semantics, whether suspended or inconclusive.
Okay.
I think yes, I have a thought there.
Okay, fantastic.
And my thought is that one of the pillars of democracy is that democratic activities to a reasonable extent must be predictable. What I mean is that dates of elections should be sacrosanct. So every time we say we don't know, we move forward, That was what would have happened in the Anambra case because of the threats of possible outbreak of violence. They say move forward. Constitution has a date, that's so time. But it ought to be better to say Anambra came under the staggered election is in occasion by court injunct pronouncements. So by now we ought to know that maybe every November, say November 5th, there will be elections in Anambra State. And it should be so for the general elections because it helps planning, it helps organization. That is one. So when that election did not conclude, that is why some people, you said it, Mike, that our colleagues were at the collation center at Oka up to sometime.
Yes, 12:15 a.m.
12:15. What were they waiting for? What were they waiting for? They were waiting for a result, not to conclusion. And they didn't conclude because of certain things that are a bit familiar with us. So to an extent, we may not like that word, but the more we use it, the more our psychology for greater success or excellence will be boosted. So it's strictly conclusive, arising from clearly human factors. But there are takeaways from that election. That is that whether the enemies of our state and nation like it, I mean, political attitudes that would have led to either further postponement and the installation of fear, we have been able to disabuse that. The election held. And I'm very grateful. And there's something I want us to do. People like us who analyze, it just occurred to me. I say every time we are hitting the president. But when the president gets out of his way to do something good, or any democratic leader for that matter, whether you are in opposition or whether you are in the main party, is important to acknowledge. So we must acknowledge President Buhari, because when the governor went to him, he said, I will overwhelm. That was the word. He said the security agencies have a responsibility to overwhelm that space and ensure that the people come to vote. He said, I will be neutral. And like you asked the one who spoke before me, I want to believe that what I saw, this federal government tried to say, whether we have a candidate there, no matter how boisterous he appears to be, he let him subject himself to the will of the people. That should be commended, and I commend it outrightly. And I want to say there is something I saw and I like. I want to commend the security agencies. Now you will see that the army was present but not visible. That is what it should be. Pulling out the military itself is an aberration in a democracy, so it shows that something is fundamentally wrong. When I go on the roads and I see the armies manning checkpoints, the HSP, who was a naval military administrator, he mentioned it yesterday, I think in your news, he was here. He said, we are beginning to demoralize the Nigerian army by making them susceptible to the evils in society. So when the army came in, we know in Anambra situation, we know or we believe it was necessary, but I think they were extremely professional. They removed themselves to where they were supposed to be, and they were not that extremely very visible. Then you must commend the police, and I have said it. Nigerian police, when they go outside, they do so well. In fact, they beat Americans, beat British, even Russian police in international. They said they are the best, and they displayed it there. The way they were talking, there were no cohesion in their voice. They were really from the observers that went. I'm so delighted to hear that they gave them numbers, say call us, and we will respond. They said don't harass them, but once you hear even civilian altercations, and it just call us, we know what to do. Extremely professional, and we need to commend them. If it were possible, some of these civil groups should write them. So that is because they know what to do. Nigerians know what to do. The fight in every society, especially Bago, has always been between inferior and superior principles. And every time the people learn to embrace superior principles, everybody will be happy. You can see in the Anambra case, police did their job, army did their job. INEC, in spite of the mistakes, I must commend INEC. What the mistake of INEC was not that of intention, it was not that of the heart. It was just that of the head. Because when you are using a mechanical device for the first time, I expected them to also make provision. Yes, it has been abused, but we go gradually. Perhaps this machine would have been tested with some more lower, and we'll see how they work, and try to fix them. It should be a simple machine from what I was seeing people do on TV. You press their place, they're looking for the picture. It should be one button, press, picture comes, and so on. I have a prepaid NEPA bill. The noise the thing is making alone makes me laugh. I said, suppose everybody in my neighborhood had it. So we must look at the manufacturers and bring something that is simple. But whether we need electronic voting, I think that's an improvement. I commend that NEC. I am saying because they have shown they really in this election they were for nobody. They were from the Nigerian people, the civil defense, the DSS, extreme professional conduct.
Now,
I want also to commend people who neglect the religious, traditional rulers and their institutions. Thank all presidents. Some of us wrote this thing a week to the elections, and INEC began. We made this observation. I know I did. I said the onus is on INEC, but there were things they didn't do. The committee of peace didn't come. They came too late. That committee ought to have come and made them sign those agreements and talk to them.
So you think the peace accord that was signed some days to the election also played a role in the peaceful conduct of the election?
Of course. Let me tell you something, that fellow politician, I'm also into politics, practical. There is something we wouldn't like to hear, but in the university it is a course study called class character of the ruling elite or class. To the extent that they are debasing, to the extent you will have things very wrong. Every security, I am saying it, I mean not every, but put it at 90% of security crisis in a society like ours. I want to be charitable. So let me use the Afghanistan system. 90% of the crisis in every society is perpetrated by the leadership class. And you saw when they decided to be calm, there was absolute calm. Absolute. Not one incident of major concern. So the class character of the Nigerian politician is that some of them are not equipped, but yet you think you must occupy the highest level. They see politics for business. That is why they can kill. And there is an aspect we neglect. Sometimes we mention it. The spirituality is a question. I remember the military at a point in this country said they placed a ban on sacred cause. There is a spiritual orientation that says you must kill, you must grab, you must shunt people. And that is what I told you one time that we were talking. I said the decoder to all this untoward behavior is a sound electoral process, just like what I make. That is why we must encourage them. Let the results as it comes be posted, and the man will see his helpless. Do all the shenanigans you want to do in your local government. In fact, Chief, I don't even bother about money politics. Pay as much money as you want to pay, but subject yourself to the will of the people.
Okay, Chief.
And in Anambra, you can see it. The people express their will, and in a very emphatic manner.
All right.
Igbo nationalism was there.
Despite the probable fear and the prediction of violence, it was very smooth. Are you still insisting, because on this platform when we talked about this, you said the insecurity in Anambra State will be at the minima after this election. You made that prediction.
It will be non-existent. Anambra has had the peace.
It will be non-existent.
Even it will be no society. Okay. No society is crime-free. But the nature of the violence we saw will disappear. I can assure you. It was orchestrated. I know.
Interesting.
You can read that. It was orchestrated. You will see that after the result, and then no. When you ask whether the results were true reflection of the Anambra wish and Igbo nationalism that was rising.
Now,
very clear.
Let's look at some of the shortcomings. Now, you've mentioned some. The turnout of voters was not so encouraging. It has been like that even when there were no insecurity issues. Now, what do you think we can do to also encourage people to come out and vote? It is their civic duty to come out and vote and select those that will represent them for the next 4 years.
I wouldn't subject that to any analysis. Let me just itemize the point.
Okay.
One, Yaman said it before, the voter education is still low. In the primary school, they used to teach us civic, you must vote as part of and pay taxes. So I don't know. I'm not keeping a close tab on our primary school, especially these days, everything is going private. Voter education is key. Two, voter mobilization by beginning from the traditional ruler to the religious leaders to the structures, market structures. Let them buy into the democratic process and know that their fortunes can be dramatically changed by the kind of leadership. And one of the issues will be comrade, whether you even like the situation. That's why I didn't start with a faulty electoral system.
Okay.
Whether it is bad or not. People like us are found in politics not because we essentially eat by it. I'm there because you need a preponderance of good men to change what is bad. Jesus is not saying heaven to change what is good. He came into the mix, our matrix, and then his infusion coming with a greater good. He changed the mixture. So what Soludo, we need people like Soludo. I mean, for the first time, Soludo was just a child of circumstance. Ordinarily, we won't allow intelligent men to come. Every living governor wants somebody who would outclass him in terms of poor performance. But box into a corner because Soludo was just outside Soludo, Abda would have been in here. So let it not be that circumstances force us to introduce men. I hear some people say, who told you? Sound education is a sine qua non for excellent, especially excellent leadership. It's especially in modern time. So we need people to come, and then when you come, don't allow elections to get by before you mobilize the people. Let them know that whether it is bad or not. Then I think point 3 should be what INEC is trying to do. Let's make sure the machines work properly. What I mean, sanctity of the electoral process. Sanctity, whether in the parties, internal democracy, from where they give us the candidates. Because if we put garbage in, garbage bad. Let the parties, I support open primaries because I said if we do it well, everybody should have his card, have a machine. By now we should go. When we press, it should be clear. Let us not subject internal democracy to the whims of a few covers that have hijacked the power process. Then at the national level, let it be that what happened in Anambra be an eye-opener. Why what we throw in should be what we get. Once the people know that, they will wait for you for 4 years or 2 years as the case may be, and they will speak. You will see our leaders become more responsible. Even with what has happened for some time now, with what has happened in Anambra now, you see the salutary effect. You see everybody in Nigeria is happy. Everybody in Ekony is happy. Why? Suddenly there is a reawakening. Oh, I matter. Of course, the people matter. Sovereignty belongs to them.
All right.
It's just that the system allowed it to be taken away.
All right, Chief.
So let's restore mobilization, restore sanctity of the electoral process, and you won't have to beg the people. They will say, okay, I know where to wait. And then we must treat the class character of the leadership. Since we seem to have ones that don't think absolutely in superior principles, there is need to educate them.
All right, Chief.
We must educate them. The churches they belong to must begin to call them to order. We belong to a place where Christianity is about 98%. I want to believe that they should not be welcoming us alone. They should be querying what we do.
All right, Chief.
Querying our statements and our attitude.
We need to move on now so that we can get reactions on the phone lines. I want to really appreciate you for your analysis this morning on the platform, Chief Egbu. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to congratulate you on your station once again on your work.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate. All right.